Hi there guys, my name is Grace, welcome back to my channel. This month I had fully intended to work on a painting that I put off last month when I found out last minute that it was Mermaid. And now I'm finally able to get to it, but my mind is now jumping to another painting. And this keeps happening to me. I have an idea that I was kind of planning for months because I've been delayed, and then something else jumps into my mind, but I push that back and I work on this one. And then I push the next one back and I work on that one that I had pushed back before. And this is happening a lot lately where I'm kind of sticking to my loose schedule, but never really what I'm inspired in that very moment to paint. A new idea is jumping into my head now. And I still want to get to my other painting idea. It's a painting idea that I've had for months now, but I will try and get to that, I think, this month still. But I'm going to start on this one first. I'm really trying to prioritize just creating more this month and not trying to plan and stick to my ideas so much. There was an artwork I recently saw by someone that I really admire, I'll put it here, and it inspired me to make my own kind of painting from this concept of a girl watering dead flowers or a dead garden. And I've initially started some sketching here, and I have a specific idea in mind. I want to be quite symmetrical with clean shapes and kind of with borders. And I've done this little thumbnail here. I'm thinking like flowers climbing up here, but they're all dead and she's watering them here. Half like quiet, maybe half depressed kind of vibe, where just like one arm's leaning and she's just, Yes. So I'm going to try and bring you along with me as well, but my camera tripod little setup thing is broken, so it might just be less process time-lapse and more just updates on the painting I'm working on. It was going really well, and now it's going really not well for a couple of reasons. I really like the way I've drawn her. She's just got that essence that I really like, that kind of numb look to her. I accidentally made her not fully centered, especially when you take the watering can into account. And if it's gonna go like this, so I think I'm gonna have to move her or change the place she's holding it or something. I've figured out what to do. It's all looking a lot better now. I've turned it a little more towards us so that it doesn't water off the edge, and I've also shifted the composition across this way, but I did decide that I want her to be in the middle. I'm also looking up different borders with vines and things and how people do that, because that's what I'm thinking of doing, having some dead branches or something coming up here, maybe dropping a couple of leaves. I'm doing a bunch of flowers down here. I really like these sunflowers. I found this picture online of all the sunflowers drooping, and I thought shapes looked very cool because they do drop their heads quite a lot. I've stylized them to be a little more rectangular, and then I'm also thinking maybe to put some dead bushes behind. Okay, I think this is our final update before I'm going to start inking this. I was thinking about doing some more complicated, like dead ivy twisting up here or something, but I just decided I like the simple bare tree branches with a couple little falling leaves. And with her, I am very happy. I have fixed her arm. I think it's good, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to ink anything yet. I'm just staring at it, and I might ask for a couple second opinions. I'm not sure if it needs to be longer, if it looks relaxed enough, if that's exactly how I'm going to render the hand. And I'm liking the number of flowers down here, but I might just double check to make sure everything makes sense and I understand it all before I ink. The trees back here, I've been doing a little practicing here of how I'm going to do the white branches underneath. I didn't like the masking fluid as much because it makes the shapes bigger and more jagged, and it is harder to use. I like the look of this one, just painting the negative areas, but this one when I used white gouache on top I also like, but in some light it doesn't look as obvious, but maybe that's a good thing, I'm not sure. I'm still considering what I'm going to do with that. And then I've been experimenting a little bit with colors for the plants. A very important thing for me is to make sure that it's very clear that the garden is dead, because that is where the whole message lies for this painting. And I think with something like this, you kind of have to make it very obvious to get the point across sometimes. A resigned, depressing kind of state for the girl, and a dead garden Those are two things that I'm really trying to make quite obvious in this painting. Don't think I'm going to ink any of this lighter background stuff here. Everything else will be inked, and I'm still deciding between the two colors, black or brown. I like the brown, but it can look, of course, a little more orange when it's very thin and dainty. I think I'm leaning towards the black and just play it safe for this, but maybe I'll do a mixture of both. I will, of course, not be inking any of this water coming out of this spout. The main part of my ink down. I'm not 100% happy with how the face turned out. I have a general idea and a guide for the colors. Overall, I'm going to try and keep it very desaturated. Maybe some blues of like a gloomy day and neglect, but also a little bit of yellows, browns, like it's kind of sick and dying, but not too sick and sad and miserable. And just start painting. Maybe a few days I'm going to try and take. I really don't want to drag this out for longer than it needs to be, like a week or so. It's very important to me with this one to try doing it a little quicker like I used to do my art, and just really enjoy the process and paint it all while the inspiration is all still here with me. As far as the painting, it really is pretty simple. It's her with the plants and then also the trees border as the foreground, and then we've got these bushes back here as a middle ground, and then the background all around her back here. And here's a little look at the ink lines and the droopy sad flowers. I'm thinking to mask off just this general area, but maybe more in little water droplets like this. So I just want to test it out in my sketchbook first. I've just drawn this, and I'm going to mask out some general droplet shapes and then do some rough painting over it, just because I don't want to start on this unless I know that it is what I want to go for. Because I could always go in afterwards with gouache if this doesn't look good, or figure out another way to represent the water. I'm thinking now maybe I should have done this smaller, because obviously I'm going to be able to get more accurate drop shapes when it's so large like this. I really like the way that looks like water, I think, so I'm gonna put some masking fluid down here. I accidentally already painted some of these flowers, so if I need to go in later with a little bit of gouache or acrylic paint on top, I can do that. Really happy with how the dead plants are looking, just the kind of droopy, mostly dead, brittle kind of way that I wanted them to be. I am a gardener myself and am not great at looking after my plants, so I am quite familiar with the dead plant look. I think they're looking very sad and scrappy, so happy with that. I've just put in these bushes, so I do really like that, although I've realized now that the two on this side and then also the watering can here might make it a little bit empty over here, so I'm not sure what I'm going to put here. Maybe I'll try and do another bush here or something. I'm going to work a little more on these branches around the edge, but my main focus is going to be her right now. Thinking maybe to change this top wrap dress robe thing to a little darker color, so that from far away the silhouette makes her a little clearer as just one shape. Really felt a change for the better when I kind of added that highlight on her nose and pushed the rest back. It felt like it made it a lot more 3D, and I'm really liking the color palette here with this blue and this yellow, and also little bits of red like on her necklace and her tassels and the watering can. So I'm going to try and bring a little more color to this tomorrow, because I don't want it to be too depressing, but I am really happy with the fact that it is coming across that the flowers are dead, and it really is giving me the impression that I was going for of an old abandoned garden. Just after lunchtime, and I'm back at my easel today. This is hopefully the last day I'm going to be working on this painting. There really isn't much to do. There are just a few things I need to keep in mind when I bring it to a finish. The color palette for this is very important to me, but it is looking a little bit dull, so I want to try and saturate some of the colors. And I have some references here, just some pictures I've put up on Pinterest, some lovely artworks, a few blues in there, but more wheat kind of yellowy brown colors, a little more of a warm dead color palette. But yeah, a little more color would be good. I'm gonna go over the bushes again to darken them a little bit, but I do want to keep this quite pale. So yeah, more saturation. Maybe I'll try and make her stand out a little more from the background. And of course, I'm going to take off this masking fluid once I'm happy with these background colors and then see how we'll finish that off. Now I've decided on her little coat dress thing here that I want some kind of pattern like this, decoration or something on the clothes. So I took a picture and on Procreate I've just drawn in some general shapes. I did a couple ideas. So that was my first one, but I think it's much too complicated. So I'm going to try something a little more like this on here, kind of in the dark blue to match this rim color. You can see I'm kind of just freehanding this now. And I really like how it's looking. I feel like the pattern is just what it needed. I don't really play a lot with patterns in my paintings, certainly not on clothes, but I do really like it and I'd like to try doing it more often. I don't want it to look too flat and unrealistic, but I'm also not really, following exactly all the folds of the fabric. I just kind of want it to be a somewhat artistic representation, kind of like the background here and even the flowers in the front. Okay, I'm here again, and this is really the last day I'm going to be working on it. I really only have a couple hours left to work on it and just finish off the final details, but I really didn't want to rush it in my last session, and then I had a couple days with some real life social stuff that took me away from the easel. So now I'm back, and I'm really excited to finish off this painting. Not a whole lot to do. As usual, I like to just finish it off by sitting at my easel for a few hours and figuring out if I'm really happy with it. Probably just, other than, darkening some shadows and stuff around on her, maybe a little bit back here, it's mainly just the water that I'm probably going to clean up some of those drops and maybe add a few in white gouache, like in front of this flower, so it doesn't look like she's just watering behind. And then of course the ground where she's watering, I might just add a little bit more depth or understanding. Do you want to say hello? I really like the way that looks. I've kind of left some of them with just the watercolor like blank white pieces, but then I've done the ones to make them look a little closer with the white gouache. Quite a 3D look. Also them coming out here, I've kind of laid that on top of the watering can. This is the part where I stare at my painting for half the day and try and think of a title. I've got a few ideas, but I don't want to be too specific with the meaning of the painting, because I want people to come up with their own meaning, but I also don't know if I want it to be too simple and literal, like dead garden or dying flowers. It took me a lot longer than it normally does this time to land on the title. Not sure if this word sums up every single metaphor or idea I wanted to portray, but I think it really does capture the emotion or that feeling and just the essence of the painting. It also does just come down to if I hear that title of that word and I think that's it. Well, I finished the new painting today, and it's practically a full moon. I'm out here with my fire, so I thought what better place to close off my video. Thanks a lot for coming along. I hope you enjoyed this process of just like more updates and stuff. I'm going to try and get some kind of new tripod soon so I can film more time lapses again. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your June and have a lovely day. I'll talk to you in my next video. Goodbye.